Connect FireTech Guardians around the truck. Before I kick off, I want to tell you guys about a couple places you can see this stuff around the show. Obviously, you can see it here in the FireTech booth. If you go over towards Horton, you'll see our tech over in the Horton booth as well on an ambulance. If you go to Pierce, you'll see it in the Pierce booth. We've got a full Hiis Connect warning light system on one of the demos. It says 10.8 on the side of it. You'll be able to touch the touchscreen on the left side of the pump panel, and you can see all the stuff we're talking about today. You can also see it on a UTV in the Skeeter booth and around the show and a couple of other places as well. So as I kick off, I want to tell you guys about the FireTech Omen, which is this lighting system here on the front of the truck. This is the most innovative, I think anyway, and kind of future-looking tech to touch the lighting market. It's the first distributed lighting system in the fire truck industry where there's no central controller. So when I think about it, I just want to start with a little bit of history, because I think in order to understand where we're going, you have to understand where we came from. And when you think about traditional lighting technology, the shape of the first warning lights was a bubble that had inside, it had like an 1157 brake lamp with a rotator that spun around it. It was just a mirror that spun around it. So the shape of traditional light fixtures was dictated by the type of tech that lived under the lens. When customers and firefighters wanted more light and more visibility, you'll see down below, they just added multiple rotators under a big colored lens. The way you change the colors was by changing the lens. When you had rotators, those rotators were mechanical elements that you could modify. You could change the speed, you could change the lamps, but they were really just all mechanical instruments. As tech progressed, when you look at the space, come on, clicker, there we go. You'll see tech went to the strobe packs, and strobe packs were great, but they still have serviceable components inside. Eventually you have to replace the light bulb. And then the tech progressed again to the LED lighting product. So when you look at the history of lighting, everything has always maintained these plastic covers that sit on top of an extruded base, where there's either mechanical components you have to service, there's light bulbs you have to replace, or now there's central controllers inside the lights. And so when we thought about, like, before I enter the lighting space, I wanted to really understand the history of lighting and understand why people did what they did and why the bars were shaped like they are. And this isn't a knock on any of our competitors' products. This is just the natural progression of tech. When I thought about who's a leader in the space that's innovated in the automotive industry and really broken the mold of legacy ways of thinking towards new ways of thinking, I thought, what would Tesla do? Tesla would probably take a unique approach to the lighting segment if they were in the lighting segment. And so in 2022, I sold my personal vehicle, my wife sold her personal vehicle, and we bought a 1949 Ford F1, and we bought a 2023 Tesla Model X. And the purpose of this was that every other day we were going to switch vehicles and drive to and from the office to experience what differences had occurred in about a single human lifespan with modern tech versus legacy tech. And what I was thinking the most innovative thing was going to be the electric powertrain, or, like, you know, the iPad on the dash. And what it turns out is that the innovation that Tesla brought to market really wasn't just the powertrain. It actually has nothing to do with the powertrain. What Tesla did that was unique in the automotive space was they said, we're going to build a piece of hardware that has every sensor, every camera, every communication protocol, everything you could want on the hardware, and then we're going to enable software updates over and over and over again. So when you think about the lighting space, when we looked at the Omen, we thought, you know, if we could solve the problem of it's a 4-year lead time for a fire truck today, if we could give you the hardware today and then enable software updates over and over and over again, kind of like Tesla did, we would be able to totally unlock this new set of features that firefighters could adopt as the lead time of the truck continues to be really long. And so what's really interesting is, you know, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was maybe about Thanksgiving time last year, the car got an update, and without having to go to a dealership, I went down, I drove across the state, my family was on this side of the state, we took the car, I hooked up the Wi-Fi, downloaded a software update, and the software update enabled self-driving. So when I drove the thing across the state for the family vacation, I turned around, downloaded the software update, it drove me home, same car. And I thought, well, with a fire truck light bar, what if I could do something like download a new flash pattern, or download a water level indicator, or download something like a command mode, where it's just a feature update that gets added to the bar, and it enables new functionality that I can already generate the data off the truck. If I'm listening to the CAN bus, I can already hear what the water level is. I can already hear this stuff, and all I have to do is enable a software update, and I can add it. That was kind of the core tech behind the software side of the FireTech Omen light bar. But lighting is not all software. There is a hardware element. And so when we thought about the hardware side of lighting, we thought we'd better actually solve the #1 problem in light bars is that water gets inside. When water gets inside, that's where the majority of failures in this sort of tech is either physical damage or it's water inside. But you can beat this light bar all day long, and there's nothing going to break a solid aluminum module. You'll see a video here at the end. We literally can hang this truck from the bottom of one of these light fixtures. They're made out of solid aluminum. So you don't have to worry about the durability of the housing. And we thought, well, if we can solve the water issue, then we can really knock the 2 key elements out that cause issues with lighting products in the fire space: physical damage and moisture intrusion. So we started with an extruded track, and then we said, well, why don't we build this thing modularly, kind of like our BG2 lighting system, where there's no middle. It's like if you have a bucket without a bottom, you can't hold water. If we have a light bar without a middle, similarly, you can't hold water. And so when our goal in this tech was to make the most reliable light bar on Earth that was hardware enabled and then software enabled hardware on top of that, we chose a modular design. This is the 12-inch module, the side module you'll see here on the light fixture. This thing was designed really to give you the most flexibility. You can choose a 12-inch, a 24-inch, a 36-inch, and it's like a bucket without a bottom. There's no middle, there's nowhere for water to accumulate. So when you need this thing to last 25 years on a fire truck, we designed it specifically with that in mind. The cool thing is, when you have a variety of sizes, you think about the cost. Apparatus manufacturers are trying to reduce extra spend and increase efficiencies, and the cost in time and the cost in labor and materials just to have all this inventory is really big. And so if you can take and build a single module into 15 different size light bars, that gives the apparatus manufacturers a competitive edge, which helps them be more efficient, helps reduce their lead time. So when you look at the FireTech Omen, this 12-inch module can be used in a 24-inch bar, a 36 bar, a 48-inch bar. And the crazy thing is, because it's 5 colors, red, green, blue, amber, and white, it's only one part number for every bar. You don't have to spec like red, green, blue, red, 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 whatever. You just say, I want a 72-inch light bar. And then after you buy the truck, you can configure all the colors directly in the light bar. So it's really a super flexible system. It's a super configurable system. And it's designed specifically for firefighters that are buying new trucks or retrofitting trucks where they need the ultimate flexibility without a ton of headache with part numbers and that sort of thing. So when you think about how do I then enable some cool software features, this is kind of the sizzle on top of the hardware. It's got to be built on a solid foundation. And the hardware features or the software features then live in a protocol we call Hiis Connect. Hiis Connect takes flash patterns and breaks them down into little elements, almost like a music score. You've got individual measures of whatever flash pattern you want, whether it's a single flash, it's a double flash, it's a ramping flash pattern. You can set your speed, your intensity, your rate, just like a sheet of music. You can set, all those variables and all that sort of thing. So when you lay this thing out, you basically build up your flash patterns. You can set them to repeat. You can build custom patterns. You can set your colors, your intensities, your modes, and it lets you do some really cool things that are all user configured. It's not spec it with a truck manufacturer, hope the truck shows up, that they get it right on the delivery center floor, and you're not doing change orders. The truck comes in a default state. You log into it just like in your modern car. You set your suspension, your steering, all that sort of stuff up later. You just configure it. This is the same sort of deal. Configure your flash patterns after the truck is built. The other cool things you can do is, like, when you have a light fixture which has 5 colors on board, you can do things like press a button and the whole truck goes into command on demand mode. I'll show you a couple of these things. It's pretty cool. Right now it's in shoe mode to match my light up sneakers. Command on demand. This is a all green. Like if you're an incident commander, you pull up on scene, hit a button, and bam, now I'm the IC. But that's fine because when I'm responding, I still want to be able to do my traditional response modes. When you get on scene, we basically break the system into 4 modes: responding day, responding night, on scene day, and on scene night. So we can do our standard response patterns. We can do night flash patterns. All of this stuff is system-wide because it's a smart system that has all 5 colors in every single fixture. I'm gonna show you a couple of other things the system can do. When you have the ability to do multiple control messages across the whole network, you can do things like water level indicators. This is a downloadable software update that you can pull data off the CAN bus from the truck. You can display the water level indicator when the pump is engaged, because when your pump is engaged, you don't really need the whole lighting system telling traffic out of the way. You're probably attached to a hose attached to a building. So we can display things like water level indicators and that sort of stuff. If you got an electric truck on order, or you're considering something like that, charge level indicators, that's another thing that we can do. Or you can do other pressures and other flows. We can indicate things using multicolor light modules. Some of the other cool stuff we can do is multi-vehicle synchronization. We have something called follow-friendly modes. And it was interesting. I was in I can't remember where it was, a safety meeting somewhere. Someone was telling me they pull out of the fire station and they drive in packs. And so when you've got vehicles following directly behind each other, the back of the front truck and the front of the back truck, if they know they're in a pack, they can dim those 2 portions of the light bar that are blinding each other as they're driving together. Or if you have 3 of them, we assign front to the front truck, middle to the middle truck, and back to the back truck. The front and back of the middle truck, the back of the front truck, and the front of the back truck all dim to the NFPA minimums. And when you're responding in a pack, it's more follow friendly. So we want to make sure we're not blinding drivers as we're responding to incidents, as well as when we're on scene. We do active load management. This is pretty cool in the scene lighting side of things. If we know what the voltage is on the fire truck, we turn on all the scene lights and we're running a big heavy load on the electrical system, scene lights are on, and you've got the air conditioning on, you've got all those other loads on. We can watch the voltage start dropping on the truck, and instead of your system turning off all the scene lights and working in the dark, we can then back off the power to the system. The lighting system is typically one of the most voltage or current hungry systems. We can back it off ever so slightly until the voltage stops dropping, matching the current draw with your alternator's capacity, keeping you working in the light. It's impossible to do your job if you can't see the subject of your incident. Active load management is a way you can accomplish that. The other thing we can do is system-wide night modes. There's night sensors in the light bar. There's 2 of them, and we average the light output to figure out if it's daytime or nighttime. We then correlate that against GPS data to make sure we know what time of day it is. From there, we can figure out if it's day or night. That's really important when you want to have night modes on your fire truck. And the last really cool thing is that we work with the House Alert team to create a safety cloud connected platform where we can transmit data to their cloud and to auto manufacturers all over the country. It allows you to do things like traffic signal preemption, allows you to do integrated digital alerting. This stuff is really cool, and that's the future of connected safety. Before I jump off on the stage, I want to touch real quickly on the FireTech Guardian, because no fire truck just has a light bar. I guess maybe like a little brush truck does, but primarily fire trucks have light bars and lights all the way around it. And we thought, what can we couple to the FireTech Omen warning light bar to make the ultimate lighting system? We thought, you know, we could really do a similar fixture to our Guardian scene lights and do some cool stuff like wireless connectivity. Every fixture has Bluetooth on board. Every fixture's got a variety of other communication buses, CAN, LIN, that sort of thing. And we can create some really cool features knowing the data on the truck, like side firing LEDs. All this night mode stuff is like, how do I keep my truck more visible at night? And I live in the middle of nowhere. And so in a rural community, I'm down windy roads. I don't want to dim the intensity of my lighting when I'm on the side of the road at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want that thing to be visible. But I also understand that sometimes lighting is too bright. And so as we thought about why our fire trucks sometimes run into, one of the things I identified was that when you look at this thing, if the E-Master's on and I'm responding, the light is a very high intensity point source. It's next to darkness if it's black outside. So when I put the vehicle in park, if I turn on a side firing LED, if you look here and here, these are sideways firing LEDs, they'll shine light down the body sheets of the fire truck and make a more natural gradient from a high intensity point source more gradually declining to darkness versus having a point source directly next to darkness with a traditional lighting system. So by having that graduated body sheet illuminated, you're able to keep your light intensity high, which makes you more visible from farther away without having that contrast of high output next to darkness. So when we're trying to solve nighttime modes, sure, we can do things like dim things down, which is totally possible. We can also do things like side firing LEDs, which actually increase your conspicuity and reduce the need for reducing light output. So what I'm going to leave you with is a little demo of our heatsink. So most light fixtures are built on a piece of aluminum, just a little thin piece of sheet metal. All the LEDs bolt to the circuit board, and they've got a plastic lens on them, and you hope for the best. But all the time, they get over-torqued, the corners break, and then you get water inside. And a light fixture with water in it is a light fixture you can't rely on, and eventually it'll leave you hanging. So we guarantee everything we build for the life of the apparatus. It's an advanced exchange lifetime warranty. If you have a problem, give us a call. We'll send you a new one. We'll get the old one back after you've replaced it. Keep your truck in service. And the reason we do that is because we know these things were designed to last 25 years. So I'll leave you with the video. We literally picked this truck up with a crane with a light fixture between it, and I'll just let the pictures speak for themselves. Thanks so much. See you guys later. All righty. Can one of my team crank this one up a little bit, the audio? Perfect. Hey.
Thank you, sir. Nice job, Sam.
Thank you. Can you guys crank this one up?
What?
Can they crank the audio up? There we go. Cool.
Hey, thanks again, my friend.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness,
It's fun, huh?
that was cool.
That's awesome.
That dim is pretty cool.
It'll dim all the way down to 0. So we just arbitrarily pick some modes, but it's awesome.
Very good. Thanks again.
For sure. Hey there.
My name's Jeremy Yoder.
Sam.
I am the Lifeline ambulance and medics ambulance for all of Washington, Alaska, and Oregon.
Oh, no way. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Nice to meet you.
We've got an office in Auburn, Washington. So
you do?
yeah, that's where it's actual, it used to be our corporate headquarters. We moved that to North Carolina.
That's awesome. I live in Snohomish.
But no way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
What my ignorance level is, I don't know any. I know about you, but I don't know anything about your lights.
Yeah.
How do I get with someone like you or someone you direct
Yeah.
to build a custom light package that I can sell to my customers for all of our ambulances? So right now I'm selling. I have all of Seattle, Redmond,
Oh, no
Bellevue,
way.
all of
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay,
We're
cool.
all Wayland.
Yeah.
But
Which
they
is
don't
good stuff.
mind switching.